Grace, peace, and mercy to you from God our Father and from our Lord and Savior Jesus the Christ. Amen. Well, it is so good to be with you here this evening in this beautiful space in the midst of God's wonderful creation. My goodness, I was a little worried this morning that it was going to be extremely humid like it has been the last couple of days. But, oh my goodness, it's wonderful. And it is so good to bring together these two communities of God. And thank you again, Paul, for joining us to bring another faith community into our midst and into our mix. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it feels like we never rest in our society because we always have to be on the go doing something. We always continually are on the move, and we manage to fashion ourselves in such a way we see our worth not based on anything other than how much we can get done. I have an admission to make. My name is Pastor Ruth, and I am a chronic multitasker. If you've been in my office, you will see that I have dual monitors set up. And let's be honest, when I am on a Zoom meeting, I'm doing way more than being on a Zoom meeting. I usually have something open on the other screen, something that doesn't require my full attention, but maybe is putting other documents and downloads into folders so that I can find them later. Maybe it's updating phone numbers or addresses in the church management system. Maybe it's moving other things around. Then I'm usually taking notes down on the side. I'm paying attention in the back window. And oh yeah, I'm also listening to see if Katie needs me from behind. Or maybe it's like when I go to the doctor's office and I pack up my side satchel with a mobile office, because who knows how long that doctor's going to take while I'm sitting there in the waiting room. And when I drive, I can't just drive. I got to have either an audiobook or I have to have a ministry podcast going on in the car. I am a chronic multitasker. And part of that then leads to the fact that I find it very, very difficult to sit down and to rest. But the thing is, it's important for us to sit down and to rest. There's a reason that we've been talking about it this whole last month. But we'll often hear people say, I don't have time for that. If I actually sat down and rest, I'd get further behind. So they just keep going and going and going until they collapse. But maybe there is something to this idea of resting. Science will tell us that there are actual benefits beyond just physical benefits. There are mental health benefits and emotional health benefits to science. And generally, as we all know, God had this figured out long before us. There's a reason that his third commandment to us was remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. God sent Moses up and gave him this commandment to tell the Israelites, slow down. Take a break. You need it. But yet, the Israelites and us, we can't slow down. We must keep going and going because that's where we think we derive our worth from. But what if we didn't look at rest as something we take in large chunks? I think that's part of it. We think that this whole idea of rest must be taken in these large, enormous, giant chunks. What if we took it in little bits? What if we took it in bite-sized pieces? Well, would that be easier to do? Would it be easier to take small segments of time rather than large pieces of time? Something to think about. And in today's gospel lesson from Matthew, we hear how small things can have a large impact. Today's gospel is actually like the greatest hits of Jesus' parables. We get 5 parables smashed into one. But in all of these parables, it starts out with something very small that has a big impact. Jesus first talks about a mustard seed, a tiny little mustard seed that when planted in the earth grows to this enormous bush. And then he talks about a little bit of yeast, how when then it's put into bread dough, it causes the bread dough to rise into this wonderful large loaf of bread. He then goes on to talk about how a person walking through finds this small treasure in a field. And he goes and he sells everything that he has, and he buys that field for that small treasure. Or how a jewel salesman goes out and he finds this pearl of great price, and he sells everything he has in order to buy that single pearl. And how a fisherman goes out and casts this little net and catches all these fish. And what a great catch it is. These small things grow and have great impact. So it can be with us and this little bit of rest if we take it in small bite-sized pieces. Could you imagine what that would be if we took little bits of rest throughout the day? How much that would add up to be? Could you imagine if we took that time resting with God, spending time with God in that period? Could you imagine how our relationship with God would grow in that? First, we'd grow in our ability to pause, but then we'd grow in our own faith with God. We'd grow in our ability to trust in God. We'd grow in our ability to trust that what God says is true. First, we'd trust that, yes, that rest actually does benefit us. But then we'd be able to trust and have faith that the bigger promises are true. Those things that we can't see on this earth, on this side of eternity. The promise that we will have eternal life. The promise that we are God's beloved children. The promise that we will be forgiven for what we have sinned against. Small things can grow and have great importance. So what then does this little bit of rest throughout the day look like? Well, there's this great Benedictine practice, and it's called satio. And what it is between tasks throughout your day, you stop and you take a few purposeful breaths, and you give thanks for the task that you've just completed. It doesn't take more than 30 seconds, but it is a small, purposeful break, a small, purposeful pause and Sabbath throughout your day. I want to challenge you to take that practice on this week. Take that practice on and see how that rest helps you to grow in your own faith. See how that small pause can grow, and how it can make a major impact on not only your relationship with God, but your relationship with all of the church and the body of Christ. And all of God's people said, Amen.